Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Andrea, London-based fashion portrait and street photographer, and today I want to take you through my journey into photography, but my journey in photography through photos. So I'll talk through the photos that I've posted on Instagram since the moment I've created Bad You Photography Instagram account, and that's basically when I started as well as a photographer. Let's start. Let's get to it. I just wanted to tell you how I got into photography, and but in more of like interactive way through the photos I posted on Instagram. I thought that would be something cool. So I received my first camera in 2018 after I graduated, and I graduated in politics. I came to London to study politics. I graduated in politics. And my parents gave me as a graduation gift a camera. The camera I have behind me, the Canon EOS A7iii. So that was my first camera. So I was already taking photos on the street with my phone. That's why when I received the camera, I decided to create my Instagram account, and the name that came into mind. So this happened in 2018. So 2018, October, November 2018. That's when I received my camera, and that's when I started shooting with a digital camera. And basically that was the moment when I started to learn about photography and when I started to be interested in photography. So yeah, not long ago, it's like 3 years ago. So yeah, not even 3 years yet. So crazy. And I remember when I created the Instagram account, I was so excited, and everyone around me, my friends, everyone, because they knew I took photos with my phone on the street, and they really liked it, and they were like, "Oh, you should create your page. You should post more of your photos." And I was skeptical at the beginning because I didn't know it gonna attract people on my page, and I didn't know it's gonna be a thing. But I said, okay, I'll do it. Let's do it. It's what's gonna happen, like I either do it and it works or it doesn't work, and it's fine. So I did it, and I created Bad You Photography. Bad You is my last name, and I didn't know what to put, so I was like, Bad You Photography, I think might be good. I created it, and I remember the first photo I posted, so I'll insert it here, was of the Tower Bridge, a seagull coming in, like flying past, I edited. I know I had a very different style of editing. I was like using certain like colors, certain filters on apps as well to make it look like it was a sunset and to accentuate that. And and I remember that photo was posted on a London page, those pages on Instagram like Love London, I think it was Love London or something like that, and they shared it, and it got like 3,000 likes, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it. I had like 20-30 followers back then, but that photo was shared, so it was something funny and unique. That was my first photo, and it was taken with the phone because I didn't receive the camera yet, or I didn't take any photos yet, and I just posted this one, and then I posted like more and more photos with my phone until I went to Romania to get the camera. And the next kind of like photo into this that tells the next step into my journey was when I started shooting with a digital camera, and this was the first photo. This here was the first photo I posted. It was of a telephone booth, the London telephone booth, and then someone walking past. So again, street photography. That's what I liked back then. And I remember I didn't know anything about photography. I was shooting digital. I was shooting on like auto. I was shooting like street or portrait style. And if you go on the camera, you have the standard, the automatic, where like just does everything for you. So I was having like the standard, and yeah, I was shooting with that. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what light was. I didn't know what shutter speed was, what anything. So I was completely like just thrown into it, and I didn't know what I was doing. And at that time, I was having a full-time job. So this was as a hobby, but more and more became my full-time job now, you know. Like I started as a hobby, and I didn't know, you know, if it's something that I can do, or if it's something that's I'm gonna like it to do as a job. But yeah, it made me just wanna do it every day of my life. But yeah, so that was the next step, where I started to take my camera out on the street of London and shoot. So and then from there, I was living with my flatmate at the moment, Ruxandra, and she was my model, my muse. So I was like, maybe I should take photos of people as well, to see like like, you know, have the people as the main, so not like street photography, like something like portraits, you know. And I had my flatmate Ruxandra, and she was keen to do it. And then we just went on our balcony. Like if you see this photo here, this was where we were living. It was our balcony, and I took her on the balcony, and I was like, we were doing dress up and everything. And yeah, I just photographed her emotion and her expression. And yeah, I didn't make a pose or anything. I just photographed what I saw. And I remember I was really excited. Then I was like, wow, yeah, that's something different from just shooting on the street and shooting whatever you see on the street. So yeah, I took a lot of photos of Ruxandra. She was my muse at the beginning. She still is. She's my best friend, and yeah, I just kind of like opened up the whole kind of like unknown of like field of photography and what it means. And so yeah. So that was, and then I started working with, at the same time when I received the camera, I started working with a brand that I met while I was at uni. And there I really, like we really clicked. And yeah, just that person really helped me kind of like see what I was, well, like saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And he decided to get me to shoot for them whenever I could. Like I was shooting for free, and I was just getting experience. I was just enjoying it. And yeah, he kind of like made me see what that I could do it, and kind of gave me that confidence, you know, like, because I didn't know, I was unsure. Like my plan was to do politics, my plan was to go do masters. That was what I wanted to do. I planned to go to Paris and to Russia, to Moscow, and to do 2 masters there and in politics. And yeah, it was completely something else. But because of that person, I shifted my whole perspective, and I was like, wait a minute, I always liked photography. Oh, it was always part of me somehow. And now seeing that I could do this, it made me wonder, maybe I should do it and give it a try. So the next photo is of like kind of like a portrait, like a haircut. And I remember I was going and taking shots of haircuts a lot. And again, I was shooting automatic, standard. I didn't know what I was doing, and that's why I was shooting for free. And the brand like let me do it and encouraged me to give it a try. So, and I'll insert also oh yeah, so it was that. So I started with haircuts, and then this photo and this photo. So these 2 photos are from London Men's Fashion Week, and I went there. So basically so for the timeline, this was January 2019 when I went to London Men's Fashion Week. And I shot automatic, standard, no, like I didn't know anything about photography. That was at the same time that I created my website. So after the fashion week, because I tagged people in stories, I posted photos of people, and people started to follow me and share my photos on stories. And I was like, oh, I must be doing something good that these people liked the photos of him that I took, and I reshared it on the stories. So I decided to create my website with the photos that I had from haircuts, the photos of Sandra, and the photos from Fashion Week. So I gave it a try. I created a Badu photography website. I did this shoot with Toby and the brand that I said I started working with, and we did the shoot on the street, and it was very like London, I don't know, London, like the vibe and everything was very London, you know. I really liked it. Again, I shot standard, automatic, no idea what I was doing, but the photos came out great, and they were excited and said, oh, you should definitely continue and do more and see what happens. So based on having these photos, you know, having already like a bit of a portfolio, I started to apply to freelancer websites and to take any jobs I could find in my spare time while I was still working full-time, and I was doing like portraits and events, and like anyone that had a need that was needing a photographer, I was applying for it and I was doing it, because I thought, you know, I need to go out and shoot more, anything, even though it's not like I didn't like events, but I want to give it a try, because then I found out I didn't like it. I've done also like portraits and I liked them, and so yeah, just trying to figure out what I liked. Shot is like I met and I done a test shoot, and I really like this photo because it's like a street photography, but it's not like, it's a bit kind of like made, you know, like the person that was passing, that was like completely random, but the model that I worked with, he was there, so it was kind of like a street photography into fashion photography into, yeah, it was interesting. That was like one of my favorite photos as well back then. And I remember we talked, I think he reached out to me or I reached out to him, I don't remember, and we talked and we decided to organize this shoot, and it was yeah, we had a lot of fun. So I was starting to do test shoots, which was something new for me as well. Then I met my friend Jessica from uni, and again I met with her, I discussed to see how she was after finishing uni, and we said, oh look, I'm trying to be a photographer now. I am a photographer, but I'm not like, I'm in my spare time, and would you like me to take some photos of you? And we did some photos, and this was one of my favorites as well, of her, and yeah, we had fun. So again, like I was photographing, so yeah, again I was photographing more and more people, and then I went to New York in February 2019. That was the moment that I decided I am meant to be a photographer now. I don't know if I'm meant to be a photographer for the rest of my life. I don't know that yet. I'm gonna find out, but for now this is what I'm meant to do, and I want to do it. So I went, so the story is that I had to go to a conference there in politics. I paid for it, I planned it months ago before I got a camera. Like it was beginning of 2018 that I planned it, booked the flights, everything. We were meant to go to New York, and so I was in a delegation with someone, and we were going to New York, and then we were going to Boston. In Boston it was the conference, and it was like a huge conference. It was like we had the chance to meet a lot of people and everything, so it was interesting. But I went to New York and I started shooting in New York on the street, and I know I shot the best street photos ever there. And again, I was shooting with no sort of like experience, but I was editing them. I started to edit them more, the photos, and the way I wanted them to look like. So if you see this photo here of this person walking, I've edited it to look like that. And if you see like the smoke and the green, I made it like to look more, you know, dramatic, more intense, more like to actually feel like you were there. So this is my favorite photo, because this showed me that, you know, I was capturing the moment, and I was I was a photographer. Like I was actually a photographer. That's when I felt the most confident. I said, okay, I'm a photographer. I can do this. Because I love it, and I feel something when I go and shoot. And I enter into a state of mind that just, you know, I'm just there, present. You know, I'm completely there. I don't worry about things. I don't care about what's happening around me. I'm there with the camera in that moment. So that was it. That was amazing. I remember this photo was amazing, and then I had another one that I was edited differently, more like orange, kind of warm vibes, warm look. And this photo, the one with the orange warm look, which is similar to the other one but just edited differently, this one was shared by Foto Cinematica, which is my favorite pages of photography. They shared it, and it got like, again, like loads of likes, and I got loads of followers from that. Then it got shared by another, like Street Leaks, I think, and then another page, so like 3 pages of street photography shared it. And I was so excited when I saw that they shared it, and then loads of people came to my page and followed me and liked my photos and commented, and I was like, wow, this is really happening, like this. And that's when I experienced the first kind of like the first time when I actually, someone shared my photos and then brought people back to me, and it was amazing. And so I'll insert also some photos from Fashion Week in New York, because funny enough, I was walking around Soho and I saw someone taking photos of like, you know, street fashion, and I stopped and I asked if I could take photos as well. So this one here, I think her name was Alexis, so I asked her if I could take photos of her, and I did. So I was just walking around Soho. This was my last day in New York, but I found the Fashion Week in New York, and then I was like, oh, so I went and I met photographers there, and they were really nice, and they asked me, oh, where are you from? And I said, like, oh, I came from London to shoot, and to just visit New York, and it's my first time in the US and everything. So yeah, all those photographers were really nice, and I stayed there and I shot like, this is a couple that I shot as well there, and I really like this photo. So yeah, it was just really, like, everything was happening so fast. I didn't know, like, my life just turned completely upside down. I didn't know what was happening, but I somehow just felt like I belonged there, you know, like as a photographer I belonged in that. So yeah, that was cool. So I'll insert more photos from New York. So like this one here, also like really one of my favorites, and this one on the bridge, which is, again, it was a very snowy day, and I really wanted to go across the bridge, but it was very snowy and windy and everything, and we didn't, but I took a few photos, so this one was my favorite. But New York, and after New York came Boston when I went to the conference. Before I entered the conference, so it was the first day of the conference, we arrived there in Boston, and I was meant to go to the conference. I went for the opening, and I just didn't feel I was belonging there. I didn't feel like, I was so bored. I was so bored, and I was so, like, don't know, it just felt like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this if I don't like it? You know, you have one life, and you should do the things that you like at any time, you know, like, you should, especially, like, you know, when you have, like, you should do what you like, you know, you should say, stop, I don't want to do this, I want to do this because I enjoy this, and I'm gonna make it work. I stopped. I went out to get a coffee from Starbucks, and I told my the person I was in the delegation with that I needed to go to the hotel because I wasn't feeling well. But to be fair, I just wanted an excuse to get out of it. And when on my way out, I saw the Leica store. It was an exhibition there as well. I wanted to go in, so I went in and I started talking to the person there, and I was telling them, you know, like, I'm a photographer as well, about street photographers and street photography, and yeah, just Boston as well. And I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed watching the exhibition. It was a small exhibition there in the store. They do that at Leica. If you went in London as well, they do like small exhibitions, so it was a small exhibition, but it was just there in the hotel where the conference was in. So it was like, this is like a sign, because I believe in signs. So I was like, this is a sign, I'm meant to go do photography. Someone is telling me, look, this is you are at this conference, but you're not meant to be there. You are meant to go there and see that you're meant to do photography. I was like, so I was meant to go to that conference, but to figure out that I was gonna be a photographer. So yeah, so I said the next morning, I said to the person in the delegation, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sorry, I paid, but I'm willing to just give it all up. I'm gonna go and spend the rest 3 days in Boston on my own and shoot and have fun and enjoy. So those were one of the best days, some of the best days of my life, because that's when I felt the most independent, the most courageous, confident, and everything. Just I felt like, you know, if I can do this, I can do anything. I know it's funny, but I was like, if I can be here on my own and give up that and just decide that I want to be a photographer and just figure out how I'm gonna do it, then I can do anything, and I know I can. And I was so confident in myself then, and I came back to London with so much confidence, and I said, you know, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I'm gonna give it a try. You know, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard. There are gonna be times when you want to give it up, but if you really like something, then it's gonna show, because you won't give it up if you really feel like that's what you like. So yeah, moving on, because I spent a lot of time on New York because it's such a big, important trip, and I want to go back there immediately if I could. Now with COVID and everything, it's more difficult, but I really want to go to the US, like to New York especially, and to see how I feel now after 2 years. You know, after how what's the feeling, if I feel like I felt that time when I went, and like what changed and the experience that I have now. But yeah, I want to go there, so hopefully soon. The next photos I'm gonna show is from the laundrette shoot I've done. Again, this is another shoot that was special to me because I found, if you watch my video with photography books that I like, I talked about the Accidentally Wes Anderson book. So this is, they have an Instagram page, and that's where I found the laundrette in London, the Barbican laundrette in London, where I shot these photos. And I found it on that page because it looked like Wes Anderson aesthetic. So I was doing more test shoots back then. So this was March 2019, after New York. And I was doing more test shoots, and I contacted Leslie and I said, I really want to do this shoot in the laundrette. I remember we wanted to do a test shoot, and I said, would you want to go here and shoot it here? And I remember it was after my work. I was finishing work at 6, so we met after and went there. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. And I remember I created a blog post about it as well, and I posted on Pinterest. And on Pinterest, this shoot was my most popular. Like, I still get people who tag me in their art inspired by my photo. And there's a particular photo, I'll put it here as well, that is the most popular on Pinterest from my photos. And that is it has so many people, that inspires so many people. Like, even now, like a week ago, someone tagged me in their post where they did an art inspired by my photo, and I was like, wow, it's still going on, and it's like 2 years after. And it was it's really cool. I remember even Photoshop posted that photo because someone created a piece from my photo and didn't tag me. Anyway, it's another story, but after all, they tagged me because I talked to them, but Photoshop posted that photo, but they didn't tag me. They tagged the person who did it, but it was inspired by my photo. And I was so like, why? I would just rather be Photoshop post something that it was inspired by my photo, but it's not my photo. And but yeah, anyway, so I went on to do more shoots and meeting people. So you can see here a vintage shoot, Marilyn Monroe inspired shoot. Then I've done, I started working with brands more as well. Just brands reaching out to me, I reached out to them as well. And this is a photo from a brand I've worked with, a portrait. Then I've done a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood inspired shoot with the first brand I worked with ever as a photographer. So we've done a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood photo shoot. It was inspired by Brad Pitt in Cliff Booth was his name in the film, yeah. We basically recreated kind of his look, and yeah, here are some photos. Really like that shoot. I remember that was the moment when I was editing, you know, like properly editing and making my own kind of aesthetic. So I changed a lot. I changed so much across the years. I mean, it's not that long, 3 years ago, but I changed a lot in these 3 years. You know, every year I did something different. Every year I had another aesthetic. Every 6 months I have another like idea, and I want to do this. And but yeah, I changed my style, and until I get to the point where this is how I want to look like. So yeah, then I started shooting with more brands. So I inserted photos here, in the studio as well, on location in London. So yeah, this was towards the end of 2019, and then I quit my job as well in August 2019. Even though I had 1 year experience in photography, I decided to quit my job because I was getting photography opportunities. I was applying to photography opportunities and I was getting them. And I've done a wedding as well, so I was just testing out. But I was slowly moving into fashion photography, and there were brands that I was working with, and I thought, okay, this is the step to like actually go and be a photographer full time. It might not work, but I'm gonna do it. So I took the risk and I did it. And then we all know what happened next year when the pandemic hit. So I've done a lot of test shoots in the beginning of 2020. Here I've done shoots with Temika, with Darcy, with Hannah. I've done with this classic car. You could see also with Jessie, and we found this place, the Brunswick Center, which was inspired from Foto Cinematica's page. They shared cinematic locations to shoot in London. I've done a blog post about it as well. So yeah, I've shot here. And yeah, and then this photo as well with Alex. I really liked the shoot. So yeah, it was exciting to put my ideas into practice and to test out and do a lot of shoots. And then pandemic hit, and we all know what happened. It was one of the hardest moments of everyone's life, and I was at a really low point. I was struggling mentally. I have anxiety, so my anxiety was through the roof. I was so I felt like I had no inspiration, no creativity, nothing. So I was stuck. I wasn't getting any jobs because you couldn't get any jobs, and the lesson learned is you need to save money always as a freelancer. That's the rule, because there are going to be periods in your life when you won't have money, when you won't have money coming in, when you won't have, because it happens. It will be a month, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few months, you never know. And especially as a pandemic, for example, there were a couple of months where people were like, we couldn't get jobs because you weren't allowed to shoot, you weren't allowed to go outside, you had to stay indoors, and you had to protect everyone. And it was hard, it was tough. And I decided to do self-portraits. So I inserted a couple here. I played with self-portraits because I needed to get creative. I needed to get some inspiration from somewhere, and that was the only way I could do it. And read books, of course, and watch movies. But yeah, it was tough. And then when it started to open up towards towards end of summer, I started to do more shoots with brands again, and I shot with swimwear brand, another clothing brand that I shot with. I shot more test shoots. So I shot with Rebecca, which I really loved. I even did a YouTube video, and that was my first YouTube video. I posted in like September, October 2020. But yeah, it was with her, from the shoot with her. I really liked it. Towards autumn winter 2020, I shot with Shinika's own brand, and I also this photo here. I absolutely loved this photo. It was amazing, one of my favorites. It's on my main page on my website because I loved it so much, and I still do. And then 2021 came. At the beginning was slow because we were into lockdown again from December. We were into lockdown for like 4 months, and it was slow. January, February, it's always slow, but it was slow because also of lockdown. And but then it started to pick up, and I was doing test shoots as well. I've done my first kind of like planned test shoot with a team. So I've worked with teams before plenty of times when I was shooting with brands, but I was organizing those teams for the brands, for the shoot with the brands. This was my first personal shoot that I've done planned by me with a team, and I really enjoyed it, and I plan to do more and more in the future. Just need to get the time to actually plan editorials as well, because I have so many ideas and I want to do that. But yeah, I won't get into that now. So I was shooting with influencers as well. Here's the shoot I've done with Gabby that I really enjoyed, especially this random card that appeared when we were and we were just immediately took the shot, and I really loved that. And then I also did other test shoots, like this is a test shoot from a park I've done. So yeah, just to put my ideas into practice. Then I shot with Shanika in the studio. As you see, you know, the video I've done about this studio shoot, it was amazing. I loved it. Another shoot I've done when I put my ideas into practice, as you know, these shoots, because I've done videos for all of them. So yeah, you could see how my photography style changed from shooting, you know, test shoots last year in 2020, and how I'm shooting now, from shooting in 2019 and how I'm shooting now. But yeah, so these are some of the photos I've done recently with when I put my ideas in practice. And yeah, now I'm completely editing my pictures. I'm shooting manual since last year, probably end of 2019, I think. Yeah, end of 2019 I started shooting manual because I learned more about it, and I thought, you know, that's it, I'm done. I'm not gonna shoot the auto anymore, because I think I know it. So I started shooting manual, and I started shooting you know, raw files as well, because in the beginning I was shooting in JPEG when I first started, because I didn't know what raw file was, what's that. And then but yeah, always shooting raw, always shooting manual, doing my own light, my own everything, and then editing them as well from scratch completely, because I enjoyed and I liked, and I have a bunch of presets that I made for my with my own that I made myself, and I use, but I keep changing and I keep making others. And but yeah, it's really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this journey in photography, my journey into photography through photos. I hope you enjoyed, because I really enjoy talking about it, and and yeah, and it's still so long, like still so much to do, and still so, because I'm still at the beginning of my career, and I have so much that I want to achieve, and I have so many ideas, and yeah, and I'm so passionate about it. I'm gonna do everything I want. I'm gonna put all my ideas into practice, and yeah, and I have this this passion for it. And but yeah, it's a short journey so far. It's 3 years with a pandemic in between and everything. But yeah, it's I'll come back in 10 years time and do another one. No, I'm joking. But I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching the video, and thank you for your support. And if you want to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video next Sunday. Yeah, I'm just very happy, living on a happy note, because talking you through my experience and so far, and it just reminded me, you know, where I was and where I am now. And sometimes I forget that, you know, sometimes I put so much pressure on me, because I'm like, oh, I don't like what I did here, I'm not good enough, or you know, all those thoughts that go into your head. But seeing where I started and when I am in just 3 years, it's like, wow, actually, like, you know, I've accomplished a lot, and I should be proud of myself, and we should be proud of ourselves for everything that we do day by day, because we are the ones who encourage ourselves. No, you have to encourage yourself to be the best version of yourself. So yeah, but yeah, very deep towards the end. Thank you so much, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.